Call to order this the Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 version of the Ellettsville Town Council. Chief, you want to do the prayer?
Yes, sir. Our Heavenly Father, once again we come before you and thank you so much for this little town. We thank you for the people we serve. We thank you for our appointed here. Just ask you to be with us in all ways. As you say in Jesus' name, amen.
To you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call when you're ready, Noel.
Pamela Samples.
William Ellis.
Here.
Scott Oldham.
Here.
Trevor Sager.
Here.
Dan Swafford.
Here.
Before we start the regular portion of the meeting, this will be the public hearing for the award of bids for the Community Crossing Matching Grant. Two bids opened on the 12th of May of this year were for E&B paving for $244,215.10. The second with Milestone Pavings, $277,571.80. This matter was taken under advisement for our legal counsel to review, and will now proceed.
Be to me. Myself and Denise both have went through the only two bid packets that we did receive, and everything was there that needed to be there. So we will be going with the low bid from E&B Paving for $244,215.10.
Okay. Questions, comments from council? Any from the public, online or in person? And now we're back to the council for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the bid for community crossing grant match for EB paving.
Second.
Motion second when you're ready.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Scott Oldham.
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
Dan Swafford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Scott, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
On this community crossing grant, so is this amount, we're not paying the full amount, correct? There's a matching to it.
Correct. We pay 25.
Okay. Do you remember when that was first brought up to the council, that we were applying for this one? Because before we do grants, we were...
The grant opens up in January of every year. So the grant process would have started in January.
Was the council notified, though? Because that's one of the things we said. We would like to know, because since we do have to pull out money from budget.
Well, I mean, the money from this comes from my restricted line, which is budgeted
Okay.
money every year.
Okay.
And my apologies if I didn't notify you, but this has been a long-standing grant that we've been applying for since 2016.
Okay.
I think his point is that we need to follow the same format for everything, and there's been a couple, not this one, that have slipped through that we didn't get notice of until the very end.
Okay,
Not
you
upset
want-
about it or anything,
You would
just-
like to have notification like at the first council
Yeah,
meeting
just
that applications are being opened for the bids?
Correct,
in?
yeah.
Or for grant, okay.
So we know later on there's going to be a cost to,
Not a problem.
So that way we're consistent across the board.
Not a problem.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
all.
You good?
Yep.
All right, now we'll move to approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on April 28th and May 12th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Action to pay accounts payable vouchers and payroll vouchers.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstaining? There are no resolutions. There are two ordinances on first reading this evening. First ordinance is 2025-14, recertifying the current legislative body districts of the town of Ellettsville, Indiana.
The council will recall that as of November of this year, the town council has to either redraw the district lines or recertify the current lines. If the council doesn't have it done by the end of June, you do not get paid until you get it done. So I have prepared an ordinance which recertifies the current legislative body districts for the town, and that is based on information that Kevin Talati put together after the last census in 2020. He prepared a couple of maps showing the current wards as they existed in 2020 and what the very minor changes would be with the population count for the 2020 census. And I believe the council's intent was to just recertify the districts as they currently are.
Comments, questions from council?
Do we have Kevin had given us a map, I thought, that showed the population percentage change.
Yeah, but that was a little bit older because then we had another census that I don't think any of us actually believes because it was a COVID census.
Right. But was it still within, I think there's some state guidelines, aren't there, Darla, that they can't be, and at the time, yeah,
I thought this was one based on that.
I thought so too. I just want to make sure that I don't see the population numbers in here, just to make sure. I'm good with it because we discussed it then. I was under the impression we had already approved it. I mean, weren't you guys kind of thought, I didn't know we'd have to revisit it. But,
No, I knew we'd have to recertify it, but
okay.
I think back when we recertified this, or we were talking about it, there wasn't much development that was counted in the last census, and it was going to be minimal change, and that's why we left it as is. Whereas the next census should
Correct.
should
I think with
establish a
your-
bigger area, and we will have to probably redo the districts then,
I don't think
but
this is correct, though.
Right. Is District 3
Right.
only that?
No, I
No.
think that is I think the current council ward as seen in Exhibit A is not correct. Because I think I've got Clover and all the way up through to Holly, and then Dan takes over going east.
I think it's just color-coded and it's hard to read in
Yeah,
there.
we've got a color-coded one right here, I think.
And
Yeah.
the 3 is where the number 3 is actually a hole in the town. So I don't think.
Yeah,
that's-
we probably ought to discuss that at some point, no
Yeah.
worries. The holes in the town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes more sense, thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. I looked at that and was like, Scott's an island.
Pretty much.
So who's in Ward 1? Is that William?
That's
No,
me.
Trevor.
Oh, Trevor.
William's 2, Pam's 5, I'm 3 or 4.
Oh, okay, I see it. So Trevor got probably most of the development with that apartment duplex, but was that done before the census, though?
Again, I think the last census, my personal opinion, was so wonky because of COVID. I'm not sure anybody got a good read
True,
off of
yeah.
it. Because you can't build all the homes we built and not show a population increase. I think ours actually decreased.
Yeah.
So,
I think definitely the next time we'll have to look at this a lot harder, but I'm good with leaving it as is.
and again, this is only an ordinance on first reading, so we've got 2 weeks to take public comment or to think about it ourselves if we want to do something differently, make adjustments. So,
And Denise, do you, when we annex something, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, you put in there, in Darla, the ordinance, what precinct it goes into?
Yes, what ward it-
ward goes
yes,
into, correct?
always.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we recertify these, or certify them, whichever, we do we take in account stuff that's been annexed up to the time we recertify, or up to the time of the census?
It's at the time of the census.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
But when they annex in, they'll automatically be certified into that ward, and they'll
It's
stay in
whatever
that
we put in the
ward.
ordinance, yes.
Right.
So,
I just didn't know if we had to redraw them, because since these were first presented, we've annexed, but we don't, since this is
No, 'cause it's
based on the
assigned.
yeah,
census.
it's something that should have been done after the last census, which was, again, as you pointed out, was postponed because of COVID anyway. So the rule is, it's whatever it would have looked like after the last census,
Gotcha.
had it been done in 2021 or whatever.
But if you are part of the town, you are definitely in a ward.
yeah. And to be honest with you, the development and growth we've had is spaced out enough, I don't think it really makes much difference. We're not going to have something so lopsided. So,
I
again,
think with the new big developments coming, like I said, the next census, I think we'll definitely have to reevaluate it.
oh, absolutely, I agree with you.
And keep in mind, there are some ward changes that we're doing too. And Denise, didn't Kevin account for the little bit of change in population when he,
As best I recall, yes.
okay.
He allotted for a little for maybe he didn't catch something.
We can only go by what the census says, though, and I agree with Scott. The data is not necessarily the best.
Right. Well, again, this is on first reading, so if we wouldn't mind studying it. I would like to see something, though, and I don't know who it would come from, about these islands that are within the town and why we haven't done something with them, because clearly they are getting the same services that everybody else is and not paying for them. So if we can do something to take care of those, that would be great.
And as I mentioned the last time we talked about this, a lot of them are even voting in the town, because voter registration does not have a way to, they don't do it by property, they do it by precinct.
So if I may ask, are the holes in your precinct also then? You see it there on that. Correct.
Well,
Well, there's holes in 3 and there's holes in 4.
Well, I just mean in general for the precinct,
Well,
not
there's,
necessarily the ward, but the voting
Oh,
precinct.
I'd have to see an overlay, but I believe the precincts very much correspond to what the ward is. But it's like that little part on Reeves Road, and I mean, I think it's annexed now, Reeves and Loudon, looks like maybe the cemetery. Hopefully no one's voting there. But that's not going to have its own precinct, and neither is the space between 2 and 5. That's not going to be a precinct.
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, and where the 3 is, where the confusion, that's not going to be. So yeah, I mean, we've got precincts that have, and I don't know if there's anybody living in those areas, but if they ever do, I know on Chester, there is a hole somewhere, and they do, and it was confirmed, they do vote, they pull the town ballot because it's in the precinct, and they vote in the town, although they're paying county taxes and not town taxes.
Well, there is somebody living in 3. That's the hole in 3 by
Oh, okay.
east of Kelly.
I almost guarantee they're voting in town.
well, just if someone could do some research on that and get us a report, that would be great.
Or just annex them.
True.
Is the new apartments that went in, is that shown on this map? I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think it's colored up.
If it's based on the last census, then they were built after that.
Okay. But they would still be in Ward 4, though, correct?
They'd have to be.
Yes.
I would say,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about the ones across from Arby's?
Yeah.
It looks like they're in there right now. They're colored in at least. Rindle Lane.
Well, but they're also on the,
So, again, I'm just looking at the colors. So, I don't even know the name of the road that cut through there.
Burns.
Yeah, Kemp Road.
It's colored in as well. North Kemp,
it was colored in under the old one, too.
yeah.
I don't know though, if they
'Cause it
started
wasn't
out
in
with
the old
single
one.
family
It was
before
in under the old one because it was a farm.
built multifamily.
Single family.
Yeah, single family.
But it's like that hole there
Right.
across and in the shopping center.
Yeah, because I think there's one in the shopping center. So. Okay, so can we move on to the next one since this is first reading?
Yep. I'm good with it.
The next ordinance tonight on first reading is ordinance 2025-15 to adopt the Town of Ellettsville Construction Standards and Specification Manual for roadways.
This is a manual that's been prepared by the Department of Public Works and Rick Kopic, and the purpose of this ordinance is simply for the town council, if it approves of the specifications, to adopt the specifications for construction standards and for roadways.
Okay, questions?
And there's one little thing I will have to change before the next reading, and that's on section 3.0, page 3, about in the middle of the page. It says pipe size shall be in accordance with the stormwater design guidelines contained in chapter 761, stormwater management. I'll need to change that because the town's chapter is, I think, 153 that the council passed last November, I believe. So those are the stormwater regulations that should be in there, not 761.
Okay.
And this is also like a living document outside of the UDO. Denise can probably explain a little bit more about this, but it'll be on, help me.
It'll be on the website. So when the UDO was created and passed, we were told we had to come up with 2 manuals. One was the construction design standards and stormwater. Stormwater's been passed. So the UDO, throughout it, has references to those documents. So when you approve them, the code on the webpage, I think Noel said it'll say, like, have a reference to both of those manuals as well. And like the UDO, it's a living document, so if we find something isn't working or something, we could come back to you and request amendment.
Okay. All right, anything else on this? Again, it's an ordinance on first reading. We'll move now to ordinances on second reading. This ordinance is ordinance 2025-13, to set fees for the rental of Ellettsville Heritage Center.
That's me. So earlier this year, at a supervisors meeting, the rental of the Heritage Center was discussed, and it was decided the rental fee should be $250 and the deposit $500. This determination was made based on the building, its features, and what it would cost for repairs. At its May 5th meeting, the Parks Board voted unanimously to approve the rental and deposit fees. The request before you is an ordinance to formally approve those fees.
Questions?
250.
Comments?
Yeah, for 250, is it like an 8 to 5, or is there certain hours for that?
That is for, because with the grant, during the day, it's open for free to the community to use for, it's a gathering spot, and it has an artistic component for artists to come in. So this is for rental on the weekend or after hours.
Okay.
We've been approached for graduation parties,
Yeah.
wedding receptions.
What's the capacity for it?
Oh, do you remember? I want to say 76, but I'm not sure.
Inside.
Yes. And there's also a stage on it. So,
Okay.
So the $500 deposit, is that a check? Is it a cash? Is it a credit card? What is it?
however they would like to pay, we had a long discussion on whether or not we just hold it or deposit it, and it was decided it would be deposited, but then refunded with no damage.
Well, I gotta tell you guys, it seems like way steep to me. $750 a day. Yeah, I get it, you get your $500 back, but there's just some folks who are not gonna be able to afford that, and this is a public asset.
This is a good time to discuss it.
Again, I don't know that I have any idea one way or the other. It just strikes me as $750 is a lot for some folks to come up with. That might want to use something like this to have a wedding or something that's memorable because the town did build something nice. And I'm not arguing one way or not about it. It just seems like a lot, particularly if we're going to deposit and they got to wait a week to get their money back.
We went back and forth on this. So one of the things, nowadays, if you have to repair anything, $250 doesn't go very far.
Right.
So it does seem high, but the damage deposit, it's strictly there to make sure people behave and treat it nice so somebody else can use it the next day. We just didn't know where to fall. I mean, if you make it where money's not the object, then, it allows maybe some people to use it that can't afford it, and that's good, but also people that really are not serious about why they want to rent. If that makes any sense. And the other thing that kind of got by me, just to keep this going, should we have something in there that says we can waive the fee under certain?
Well, that would be my question, because again, let's say I want to hold a concert. Oh, okay, well, if you're going to hold a concert, then I'm all for $500 or $1,000, because who knows how many people are going to pull down there. But on the other hand, look, I really can't afford a nice wedding for my my wedding, my child's wedding, whatever else, I could go with $250, but I'm only having 40 people there. And then we're gonna make them pay $750.
Well, they'll get 500 back.
I get it. Again, I'm
But they're
just,
still out that.
they're out that because we're depositing it, we're not holding it. You know, so you gotta come up with that. Maybe I'm wrong, guys, I don't know. I mean, I'm concerned about where we're parking folks, you know, what the parking's gonna look like, how much it's gonna be used, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this is one of those things where I really don't know what I don't know.
We're totally open to what you guys think about this.
Well, for a wedding, that's very cheap. I will say that. I just went through those, so I see what you're saying, though, about maybe the deposit not being deposited and just put a hold on it.
We can't do that legally. We're accepting the
And to
funds.
be-
Idea, though.
To be clear, this is so that they reserve it. So there are options where people can come in and utilize the space if nobody's using it. You know,
During the day, we discuss.
Yeah, I mean, like Boy Scouts Club can come, or Boy Scout churches can come in there and, you know,
What
bridge
about-
clubs can use it for free, so this is when you want to reserve it
For a function.
for a function.
Right.
What about a cleanup fee or anything like that? Or who's gonna be in charge of cleaning it?
That's part of it, opening and closing it, you know, we'll probably have some overtime, making sure it gets locked up.
So that's the 250 included in on all that, our overtime and...
Well,
Yeah.
that's where we'll recoup our money from, but it'll barely cover it under certain circumstances. If we have a guy out for 2 hours, it's like, what, $80? Yeah, 80 or $100, so there's 80 or $100, you know, that you already spent just ensuring that it's closed up and ready for the next.
What does the shelter house charge? I mean, if you wanna, how much is the shelter house?
For
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
the large shelter is the only one that we charge a deposit for, and it's a $100 deposit and a $200 rental. And then the medium shelter is $50, and the smaller shelter is $40 for rental, plus sales tax.
So there are some cheaper options if they need to.
There are, and people come
Yeah.
and use them and don't pay that. They just don't have it reserved, but people come and use them all the time, maybe every day. And they don't go through the process of spending any money, but for a function, if you're gonna have a wedding or a graduation party or anything like that, you'd wanna know it's gonna be there when you got there. So that's when you get down to renting it.
What's the council think about, and if it's legal, can we offer one fee for residents and one fee for non-residents? 125 for residents, 250 for non-residents?
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's legal, I'm good with that too.
I kinda like
Still want to do the
I like it.
$500 damage deposit.
I think
Yeah, I
we
think
still
we
need to do the
should-
$500 damage deposit.
How about we give, I'm okay with $500 damage deposit, but give someone, whether it's Parks Board or town manager, the ability to waive it.
I have no issue with that.
But we need to put guidelines in or we may get in trouble by, yeah.
Well, if they can
Again, we
provide,
were talking over here, you know, $500, that seems like a lot of money, and to an individual it is, but you do damage to the building and $500 ain't gonna cover it.
well, there's another option. We could have them, like what the Monroe County Fairgrounds does, you have to have that insurance policy for that day. That way we'd be totally covered. There'd be no deposit, but you have to get insurance.
that's cumbersome.
Not really. You can call up at your agent and get it for $50, $75.
Well, some people can, some people
That's
probably
true.
can't. That's why the
So
waiver.
you're saying if they have insurance, then waive the damage deposit?
Yeah, I would, I mean, damage deposit or insurance.
What kind of insurance would cover?
It's called event insurance, I believe. Not, okay. That way, yeah. We've purchased it when we do parades and stuff. We do that for the day. It's relatively inexpensive.
Well, we're not ready to open it yet. We could probably, I don't like kicking the can down the road, but we could probably have more discussion and bring it up at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Because if they have insurance, we don't have to worry about depositing a check. Does that check bounce? Do we charge fees? How long does it take to get back to them?
Some people,
They can, but if they don't have insurance, we have an option, they can rent it too, if they can't get it.
If I may, I know that I had a wedding last year and I'm having another wedding this year, so me and Chris is, I know the facility that we used last year, we had to provide our own insurance as well, so I think that would be a good option, that if somebody could show proof of insurance and it would waive that, so.
Yeah. Check it out.
want to come back to us next week and
Sure.
for 2 weeks and we'll talk about it?
Okay, so just so I'm clear, I've heard like 4 different things here. So I've
a
heard,
bunch of them.
You gotta figure it all out, darling, come on.
so I've heard 125 for residents, 250 for non-residents of the town. Put in a section that allows the park board to permit waivers to charitable organizations, or just leave it to the Parks Board to decide who gets a
Based
waiver.
on need, I guess.
Okay.
However you want to put it.
And then event insurance for, or make individuals reserving the property provide proof of event insurance. And so if they do that, it's an either or, event insurance or $500 damage deposit, or just event insurance across the board.
No, I think that or.
Either
or. Either or.
Because now they got 3 ways. They can
Right.
appeal for need. They
Okay.
can put the $500 down, or they can go get event insurance.
Okay,
Now, the question I would say, while we're doing this, do we want to say over a certain amount of people, you're gonna have to have event insurance? Because if you're gonna hold a concert down there, $500 ain't gonna do nothing. But if you're gonna hold a concert with more than, pick a number, guys, now we're gonna require event insurance in whatever amount you choose. So again, something for you guys to mull over and bring back to us. Think about how you wanna do that.
Great.
Because I can see this thing being very, very popular. And unfortunately, very, very popular means very, very popular. So,
We think it might be a region.
probably. So, and again, refresh my memory, parking, is that gonna just, what's already there, or are we gonna put in more down there?
There'll be parking on site, and then there's parking up on Park Street, and I think there's going to be additional parking sooner than later. I don't want to talk about it right now, but that'll be in close proximity. Vine Street, we just made like, how many parking spaces do you think? We got 40 to 50, so it's in close proximity, and it'll be connected by a trail sooner than later. And so parking's not going to be that big a problem.
Okay, just to be sure.
Yeah.
When is the completion of this supposed to be, do you know?
All but one light, I think we're there, except for some of the landscaping and finish.
We have some punch list items, and also DNR, we're still waiting on them about the drive-in, because the drive-in's in floodway. So we're waiting on their approval, and we anticipate hopefully opening soon. We have to wait on them.
Waiting patiently.
So the most important question is, when does the cow go back up?
It's undergoing a facelift, so it will be the same cow. We have to strengthen it a little bit, the tail's cracked, but we had a practice run, so I'm thinking it should go back up within a week to 2 weeks. It's going to be a very nice building. We try to keep pictures off of the social media, so everybody will be surprised, but
Okay.
Call me and I'll walk you through it.
All right, since this is an ordinance on second reading, we'll need a motion to table to let them move forward with it. So is there such a motion?
I'll make a motion to table ordinance 2025-13 to set fees for the rental of the Ellettsville Heritage Center.
Second.
Whenever you're ready.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Dan Swafford.
Yes.
Motion tabled.
My apologies to the town for not thinking of these suggestions beforehand. I thank you guys for bringing this and entertaining these suggestions.
can I ask Darla a procedural question?
Sure.
Does it have to, once we decide, does it go back to the Parks Board and we bring it to council? Yeah? Okay,
nope.
thank you.
There is no old business, there is no new business. Privilege of the floor, anyone having business for the council, not part of our normal agenda.
moment here. I'm Dennis Pence. I live at 792 Lantern Lane here in Ellettsville, up in the Greenbrier area. And my purpose here tonight,
It pops, you just have to kind of move around a little bit.
is it what?
Yeah, go.
Okay. All right, sorry. The purpose that I'm here, which I'm speaking on for a lot of our neighbors that I've talked to over the last several years, is our neighborhood has grown tremendously. When we moved here 10 or 12 years ago, our street dead end into the woods in a field, and now it's all completely grown up and is houses, and the traffic has become unbelievable. It's almost like 46 out here. And I've, because of the new people moving in, there is no respect for the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit that we have in our neighborhood and throughout the entire, all the streets. And I've requested of Mr. Durnall, Mr. Durnall will testify, I've talked to him numerous times, and other police officers, that we need some patrol out there to just write some tickets, because the speed limit as of tonight is up to 50 miles an hour. And Mr. Durnall did have one officer come out that I'm aware of, and he came at 7 o'clock at night when everybody's already home. And he said he didn't see any problem whatsoever, but he said, unless somebody's going 45, I'm not going to write them any tickets. And that kind of just, I thought, if you just come in the afternoon between 3 and 6 o'clock, you could write a whole ticket book full, because the speed limit is just unbelievable. And I'm speaking on behalf of my neighbors, because we walk. There's not sidewalks everywhere on that street. And there are kids we have 2 neighbor boys who don't pay any attention to traffic whatsoever, who are riding their bikes, and, all of a sudden a car will shock them that, they're behind them, and they're not paying any attention, and it's just going to be a matter of time before something happens. So my presence here tonight is to request before the town, because I know our Ellettsville Police Department is extremely busy with so much, but is it possible we could have 2 alternatives? One is speed bumps. The other is to put a 4-way stop right at my intersection there of Musket and, what's the other one, Mayor? Huh? There's a street right there beside us. Hopefully the 4-way stop would slow people down, but we're at the point now. This evening I yelled at a person, a young man driving through, that was just, he had to be going 50 miles an hour. And I think it's a very dangerous situation, and I'd like to bring it before you all to have discussion in the future or whatever of what can we do, because I know it's not just my street. Deer Run, if you go down Deer Run, you'll see all these signs out there, children at play, please slow down. And it's just a very common thing that people are just flying through our neighborhoods. And I'm of the opinion that it's because everybody's new. They're used to driving fast wherever they've come from, and they don't realize that there are so many people walking out there on the streets and stuff. So I'm bringing before you a proposal of either speed bumps or a 4-way stop at certain sections to start getting the traffic to slow down some. Thank you.
Address again, please.
792 Lantern Lane.
Kip,
I live in the Greenbrier 2 section.
Can you, at some point here in the near future, put out the speed strips?
Well, right now, they're outdated now. I've not replaced them yet, but I'm working to get them replaced.
Okay. Do you know about how long that would take?
I haven't, I got a guy that's supposed to be contacting me here in the next week or so about, I'm trying to get numbers in and
Okay.
things together to get them purchased, so.
Okay, perfect.
Is that intersection, do they have two stop signs? Is it just stop one way, or is there any stop signs at all?
There are stop sign, one goes down into a cul-de-sac, the other goes back, I believe it's Cannon Lane.
North-south is
Yeah, I'm
uncontrolled.
looking at Lantern and Musket.
East-west.
Lantern-
Two stop signs.
Yeah.
Do they have,
Lantern Lane's a through street, and Musket Drive is the stop street. And to the
Right.
west is the cul-de-sac, and to the right takes you over to Cannon Courts.
Right.
yeah,
But there's nothing to slow anybody down all the way back till you get to where it curves into Deer Run. So they have wide open access to travel as fast as they want.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else under privilege of the floor?
Hi. Valerie Dwar from the Chamber Board. Just wanted to thank the town and Parks and Rec for the lovely memorial service yesterday, and also the delightful openness that we have to new activities such as the concert Saturday night. And that I think this says a lot for our community and its willingness to have a good quality of life for families.
Thank you, ma'am. You have anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move down to supervisor comments, beginning with the town manager.
Sure, I'll talk about their concert myself. I want to thank WB97 and Hoosier Country for putting on the concert. They went to a lot of time and money to make it happen. Denise has been very helpful and kind of helped lead the way. And then I want to thank Department of Public Works. They had the place looking neat and clean. Tony and Kirsten from WB97, they were the liaisons to make it all go. Police was there, and I just, and especially want to thank Marty Stevens, Richland Township trustee. He's provided us with a park area along with the Campbell Park. It's a perfect place to have a concert, and it was fun and easy in, easy out. So I just want to thank everybody. There'll be one next Saturday. You ought to go to one. It's a good time, and it's a really pleasant place to take kids. So, thank you.
Yes, as Valerie said, we had a real nice memorial service yesterday. It's been that long ago. Our turnout was a little disappointed this time. I think we did better advertising this time than we did any time before. But I started back when I came here in 15, we had 16. We paused in 2021. And all through that time, well, Bill, you've been there a couple times. You know, we've had close to 100 people there. Probably yesterday, Noel and I were talking this morning, maybe 50 people. So I know the older people are passing, but
It's also Memorial Day weekend. A lot of people were traveling.
Yeah.
That could be it too.
it was good weather too. So a little windy, but we had nice. Dr. DeWar was our featured veteran for the day, and so we had a nice time for what it was. But that participation from the school came down, from the singers came from the school, and really went well. So, but thank you, Valerie, for your comments.
Chief?
Kind of a repeat from last council meeting, but the Ellettsville Fire Department did receive a grant. It was actually done through the volunteer organization. Parked outside is the UTV that was purchased. It was 100% paid for, didn't cost taxpayers anything, so that's always a bonus. It takes care of not only fires, but can take care of EMS calls and transporting people out of areas such as the woods, things like that. And it's out there for people to look at. The other thing is to remind everybody that this year's fireworks are on July the 5th. Rain date is on the 6th. It is all donation based. A lot of businesses donate, but we also have, through the fire department's Facebook page, you can find a donation site on there, or you can cash check. We'll have people collecting donations at the various entrances. That's always a good time. And I think that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
The Department of Public Works, we're starting our spring season of crack sealings. You'll see the crews out doing some crack sealing for preventative maintenance and make our streets last a lot longer. Just want to let you guys know that we're working on that at this time. That's all.
Thank you.
I don't have anything, thank you.
I just wanted to let the council know that I started working in February with Baker Tilly to do a comprehensive financial plan, and they came and presented to all the supervisors on the 22nd. There were a couple of corrections that we need to make in that, and then I'll be making that available to the board so that they can see moving forward. It has a lot of the information from Senate Enrolled Act 1 that's going to directly affect the town as we move into budget seasons, and I'll be releasing to the supervisors this week the budget forms to start that process. And by the next meeting, even though I won't be present, my Deputy Clerk Kelly will be here, and she will have the budget calendar, because I'm going over with that with Baker Tilly, just to make sure that we're in compliance so that everyone in the council has time to look over everything.
And the goal is still to do zero-based budgeting this year, correct?
Correct.
And if you want to share with people what that is?
So basically, zero-based budgeting is where we don't take what we budgeted in '24, which so going into '25, we would take and start at zero. So you're actually putting in there what you need. You're not taking what we took the year before and just doing an incremental increase.
I'm sorry, did the council make that decision we were going to go that way someplace? Did I recall that vote?
No, sir.
Okay, just want to be sure.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up, because that was the recommendation for the potential for lost revenues going forward. That's just how I'm setting up the spreadsheets. It has it has what's in '24, what was actually budgeted. It has what's been used to date in '25. It has a space for all the supervisors to put in their amounts, and then what the difference is on the right-hand side. And the council will have access to the spreadsheet so that they can see them in real time, because we're doing a SharePoint drive this year.
Okay.
What about when they take money out of a certain line? Will that show up too, or use it for something else?
The transfers and the encumbrances,
Yeah.
we have everything in there currently year-to-date to show what we've used, and we'll be updating that as we move forward. So currently, the spreadsheets are set through April the 30th.
But I mean, there's transferring a lot through the year, like if they take money out of a certain line, and is that still gonna show that money coming out of that line and going into another line? Or, you see what I'm trying to,
Correct.
so it will show, say, we're gonna use 04 for office supplies, and you had $500 left over, and you decide to put it into the equipment line.
Correct.
So it will show all those transfers?
Yes, the transfers and the additional appropriations, correct.
Okay.
I just want to say,
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention something. So we're about to move into the new Department of Public Works building, and tentatively scheduled to move in a couple of weeks. We are thinking about having a ribbon cutting and an open house on the 23rd. Let it sink in with a regular scheduled meeting. Maybe start at around 3, have the event and ceremonies, and then go into a regular scheduled meeting. And if the board is interested, we might even have that meeting at our new training room. It's not quite as big as this, but we think we could fit everybody in there and maybe utilize it for one meeting, just, as part of breaking in the building.
is it wired for recording?
Pardon? We can get, we talked about cats today, and cats we're gonna make sure they can come in and do it portable. It wouldn't be live. That'd be
I
the
don't
only
think
thing.
this is live
And-
anyways.
And, that-
Zoom, but we can
and
do
that's
that.
just a
That's-
suggestion, we don't
Yeah.
have to do it.
Does it have a better PA system than this room?
Yeah.
No more popping?
We'll have to figure that out too. So, but I just wanted to, it's all tentative, but I wanted to mention it for the 23rd, just so you can be thinking about it, kind of save the date.
We can conduct a Zoom meeting in that room too as well.
All right, now we're down to council comments. Anyone?
Just quickly, I want to thank the supervisors, all of them, and Noel for actually considering zero-based budgeting, because that's one of the ways budgets get away from people. Starting from scratch every year and evaluating your needs is best practices when it comes to budgeting. We pretty much do that with, most people do that with their home budget, what they do, and I just think that is a good move. And I'm glad that we're doing it, because it makes our job a little easier.
Anyone else? See no further business for the council. We're adjourned.